I am someone who has been working for a while, and there have been times when I thought I would never return to studying. These thoughts came to me when work started to consume all my time and energy, making learning seem like a distant task. However, as I got deeper into my career and faced the reality of work, I realized that learning can never stop. It's a continuous process that we must maintain and improve every day. By learning new things, practicing, and refining the skills we've already learned, we can make our work flow more smoothly and master skills we never thought we could. More importantly, in today's competitive job market, never stopping to learn will ensure we don't fall behind. Learning is not just about acquiring knowledge, but it's also about personal development. Throughout the learning process, there will be challenges and failures, but those experiences will help me identify 3 common mistakes in how we approach learning. Today, I want to share these mistakes with you and explore how we can recognize and overcome them. 1. Learning quickly, cramming. In today's technological era, where information is easily accessible through the internet, it's not hard to find millions of videos sharing methods for learning quickly. If you pay attention, you'll notice these videos often have very high view counts. Why is that? The truth is, these videos target our real need for learning. We want to learn fast, memorize quickly, and use the remaining time for other tasks. But is learning quickly really effective? In the past, whenever I wanted to learn a new concept, I would search for quick learning methods online and try to apply them. In practice, these methods can be effective in the short term, but soon after, I would forget everything I had learned. This taught me that learning isn't just about quickly absorbing information. It requires repetition and deep understanding to retain knowledge in the long run. Learning fast can help us access knowledge quickly, but to apply that knowledge in work and life for the long term, we need time to analyze, practice, and reinforce it. I realize that learning is not a race. The brain cannot absorb too much information in a short amount of time without review and reinforcement. Trying to cram a large amount of information into the brain will overload it, and the result is that the knowledge only remains in short-term memory, easily forgotten. This is especially true when learning a new language. You can't immediately speak a long sentence just after learning the alphabet. Learning a language or any skill requires time. Start with the basics, gradually familiarize yourself with each step, and then move on to more complex concepts. Instead of pressuring yourself to learn quickly, take your time, learning each step thoroughly so that knowledge becomes a part of you. A little tip I want to share is that every time you sit down to study, don't let the pressure of time or results affect you. Treat it as an opportunity to update yourself, improve, and refine who you are. Learning will become more enjoyable and easier if you view it as an essential part of your personal development. Enjoy the learning process and remind yourself that every step you take adds value to yourself. 2. Learning mindlessly. This is probably a mistake that everyone has made at some point in their learning process. When I first started learning video editing, I would spend hours just watching tutorial videos and following the steps exactly, without thinking about why I had to use certain effects. At the time, I thought, this isn't so hard. But when I had to create a video with a similar theme but different requirements, I realized I couldn't come up with any ideas for the video. I realized I had been deceiving myself, thinking I wasn't lazy or careless, but in reality, I was. I call this lazy thinking, or simply learning mindlessly. Mindless learning is essentially tricking your brain into thinking you're learning and absorbing knowledge when in fact, nothing stays in your mind. I had memorized a ton of math formulas this way, but when faced with a real problem, I couldn't solve it. However, one time, while studying, I happened to encounter a problem and started thinking critically to solve it. And honestly, I solved it right away. That was knowledge that I still remember to this day. Learning passively like this prevents you from developing critical thinking skills, from deeply understanding the material, and from knowing how to apply the knowledge in real life. As you can guess, learning this way won't leave anything substantial in your mind. This is also why you might spend more time learning, but not see effective results. My advice is to learn truly and actively, develop your thinking everywhere, and apply what you learn whenever possible. Create a connection between theory and practice so that the knowledge truly becomes ingrained in your mind and can be used in real life. 3. Not reviewing immediately after learning. In the past, after every study session, I felt satisfied with myself thinking, okay, I've grasped the knowledge now. No need to worry about it anymore. I would just move on to other tasks, letting everything sink in naturally. But later, when I needed to apply that knowledge, I was surprised to realize that I couldn't remember anything. Everything seemed vague, like I had just skimmed through the material without truly understanding it. We all know that the brain forgets easily, especially when there's no reinforcement. It's like writing something in a notebook, but never going back to review it. The information just stays in your brain in a vague way, without any solid connection. I used to think that once I learned something, it was done. But after a few failures, I realized that reviewing is crucial. If you don't review immediately after learning, you'll forget up to 80% of the knowledge within just a few days. It's also similar to preparing for a long journey. If you only learn something once and never review it, your journey will be difficult and you won't remember the right direction. But if you review and repeat the learning process, you'll feel more confident, as if everything has deeply embedded in your subconscious. My advice is to never let your knowledge fade away just because you're too lazy to review. Spend a little time reviewing right after you learn, and it will help you retain what you've learned. And more importantly, create opportunities to apply it in real life. Don't let your learning efforts become fleeting moments. Let them become a part of you. In the end, learning is a lifelong journey, not a race. Avoid rushing, mindless repetition, or neglecting review. Take the time to understand, reflect, and practice. Every effort you put into learning shapes your skills, strengthens your mind, and ensures you keep moving forward, both in your career and in life. Keep learning, keep growing,